The twins, the songs, the love triangle, the letters, the messengers, the man in the dark room. Who are you? What would you? Are all the people mad? Welcome to Twelfth Night. Hi, it's Nicole. Today we talk about Twelfth Night. I will share my first impressions and some opinions on this Shakespeare's play. As usual, please do not take me too seriously, but do leave me comments and let me know what you think. Twelfth Night is about twin brother and sister who get separated after a shipwreck. The sister disguises herself as a young man named Cesario, becomes the servant of Count Orsino, and promptly falls in love with him. Count Orsino, a great music enthusiast, loves Countess Olivia and sends his new trusted servant Cesario to woo her on his behalf. Olivia rejects Orsino but falls in love with the handsome young man Cesario. There's a second plot line. As Olivia dresses all in black in mourning for her father and brother, her household behind the kitchen door is having a non-stop wild party. Or to use a Shakespeare comparison, the drunken, disorderly and mischievous Sir Toby, Sir Andrew and Maria remind me of Falstaff and his mates. Olivia has a serious and pompous steward called Malvolio who detests the noise and the fun and dreams of marrying his mistress and one day being able to tell all these worthless people off from a higher social position. A revenge is brewing against Malvolio. Do you see two worlds here? The idle household of Count Orsino, where nothing happens apart from music and talk of love, and Countess Olivia's house with the two extremes of solemnity and reveling. The two worlds do not mix until the very end, which draws my attention to the two boundary-crossing figures, Cesario and Feste the Fool. Cesario is a go-between. She is sent from Orsino to Olivia twice and summoned by Olivia 3 times. We know quite a lot about Cesario's background. She is the daughter of Sebastian of Messalin. Her father died when she was 13 and she has a twin brother also called Sebastian. Feste officially belongs to Countess Olivia, but he mostly comes and goes as he pleases. We know very little about Feste. There's one line that says, "Feste the jester, my lord, a fool that the Lady Olivia's father took much delight in." We learn his name. This is the only place where his name is mentioned, otherwise he's just called the Fool. It gives a hint of his age and maybe the fact that Lady Olivia doesn't take as much delight in him as her late father did. Why can Cesario and Feste go between worlds and cross boundaries? Cesario, because she's a woman disguised as a man, is favored by both the master and the mistress of the houses. Feste, because he's a allowed fool, meaning he has been given permission to speak freely. Another reason is that he can sing. He goes to Orsino's house because Orsino summons him to sing. Olivia cares not for his wit or his music. The first time Feste appears, she directly asks him to go away. And throughout the play, she sends him to run errands like any other servant. However, running errands makes him the first one in Illyria to meet Sebastian. I find that interesting. Orsino appreciates Feste's plain old songs, like Olivia's father did, which is very interesting too. It took me a long time to get my head around Twelfth Night. I listened to a radio production, watched 2 theatre productions, and read through the play multiple times, but I couldn't catch the spirit of the play. By the end of the summary I gave at the start, we come to Act 3, Scene 1, where Cesario and Feste appear side by side on their own for the only time in the play. It's an intriguing scene where our two boundary-crossing figures come together and have a little verbal swordplay on the subject of words. The fact that it has nothing to do with the advance of the storyline and it's placed right in the middle, in the center of the play, draws my attention. Save thee, friend, and thy music. Dost thou live by thy tabor? No, sir, I live by the church. Art thou a churchman? No such matter, sir. I do live by the church, for I do live at my house, and my house does stand by the church. So thou mayst say the king lies by a beggar, if a beggar dwell near him, or the church stands by thy tabor, if thy tabor stand by the church. They are playing with words. They can do that because the phrase live by has multiple meanings. When Cesario says, dost thou live by thy tabor, she means, do you play music as a living? Is that your profession? Feste answers, no, sir, I live by the church. Cesario asks, art thou a churchman? Which shows that she understands live by the church in terms of profession, as in I'm a clergyman. Then Feste says, no, my house is next to the church. So Cesario throws out two more phrases with multiple meanings to drive the point home. Words' meanings can shift. One word, two meanings. You say one thing and can have two images in your mind. Then I realized why I've been so confused and frustrated by Twelfth Night. There is a lot of wordplay like this in dialogues throughout, and their meaning keeps eluding me, especially Sir Toby, Maria, and Feste. They are way too quick for me. It's annoying. For example, we meet Sir Toby and Maria for the first time in Act 1, Scene 3. What a plague means my niece to take the death of her brother thus. I am sure cares an enemy to life. By my troth, Sir Toby, you must come in earlier nights. Your cousin, my lady, takes great exception to your ill hours. According to Johnson's dictionary, exception means peevish dislike, offense taken. Why, let her accept before accepted. To accept means to object. So Sir Toby is saying, let her object to me before I object to her. Aye, but you must confine yourself within the modest limits of order. Confine means firstly, restrain. Confine, I'll confine myself no finer than I am. These clothes are good enough to drink in, and so be these boots too. And they be not, let them hang themselves in their own straps. Sir Toby is talking about dressing himself with certain clothes. When we see Feste for the first time in Act 1, Scene 5, God bless thee, lady. Take the fool away. Do you not hear, fellows? Take away the lady. It took me a long while to get this. The fool, the word, the fool, doesn't refer to him, doesn't refer to the fool, the person, as he is called. The fool means the foolish one, and Feste says the lady is a fool. Go to, you are a dry fool, I'll no more of you. Besides, you grow dishonest. Dry means firstly dull, not funny. Two faults, being dry and dishonest, Madonna, that drink and good counsel will amend. Forgive the dry fool drink, then is the fool not dry. Dry means secondly thirsty. Bid the dishonest man mend himself. If he mend, he is no longer dishonest. Mend means firstly reform. If he cannot, let the botcher mend him. Mend means secondly repair. A botcher is a mender of old clothes, the same to a tailor as a cobbler to a shoemaker. Everyone talks in riddles. I just can't get my head around it. All of these words have two meanings, one appearance, two possibilities. The biggest stare-in-your-face visual representation of one appearance, two possibilities in the play is, of course, Viola and Cesario, and also Viola and Sebastian. One face, one voice, one habit, and two persons. A natural perspective that is and is not. Let me state the obvious. Viola and Cesario have one appearance because they are the same person, but two possibilities because Cesario is the male disguise of Viola. Orsino is able to keep Cesario close and unclasp to the book even of my secret soul, meaning tell him all his secrets because Cesario is a man. When Orsino has his heart-to-heart with Cesario about women, it's like a father giving a son advice. What years in faith? About your years, my lord. Too old, by heaven. Let still the woman take an order than herself, so wears she to him. So sways she level in her husband's heart. For boy, however we do praise ourselves, our fancies are more giddy and unfirm, more longing, wavering, sooner lost and won than women's are. I think it well, my lord. Then let thy love be younger than thyself, or thy affection cannot hold the bend. For women are as roses, whose fair flower, being once displayed, does fall that very hour. At the same time, he cannot help noticing the femininity of Viola. Dear lad, believe it, for they shall yet belie thy happy years that say thou art a man. Diana's lip is not more smooth and rubious. Thy small pipe is as the maiden's organ, shrill and sound, and all is semblative a woman's part. Olivia falls in love with a fair young man, thy tongue, thy face, thy limbs, actions and spirit. But before she does, she speaks to Cesario as if to a sister. Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well diverged, free, learned, and valiant, and in dimension and the shape of nature, a gracious person. But yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago. So that's the two-in-one of Viola and Cesario. Viola and Sebastian also have one appearance because they are twins. Two possibilities because they are actually one woman and one man. That's how the difficulty of the play is resolved. But Cesario is not Sebastian. It should be obvious, but it wasn't until I watched a show. Olivia loved Cesario and thought she married Cesario, but she married Sebastian instead. When she found out the person she was married to was not Cesario, what did she think? Was she horrified that she was married to a complete stranger? I think she should be if what she loved was the reality of Cesario and not the appearance of Cesario. Sebastian only shares the appearance of Cesario. In reality, he's a complete different person. The problem of the play is conveniently solved, but I'm not sure this is a happy ending for Olivia. I'm not confident about the future of her marriage. It's like at the end of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Jack shall have Jill, naught shall go ill. But I can't help noticing Demetrius still has the love jewels on his eyes. The ending does not 100% promise happily ever after. One thing that struck me when I got to the end of the play is that Cesario stays in a young man's clothes until the very end. Viola didn't appear on stage again as a woman, unlike Rosalind in As You Like It. The last speech of the show is from Orsino saying, Cesario, come, for so you shall be while you are a man. But when in other habits you are seen, Orsino's mistress and his fancy's queen. Cesario walks off stage and ends the play as the boy Cesario. I wonder why Shakespeare decided to do that. Orsino has favoured Cesario as a young man throughout the play, though from which point he started to see double and love Cesario in a romantic way, I can't tell. Now Cesario proves to be a woman. Orsino can legitimately show affection and marry her. But maybe Orsino prefers Cesario dressed like a young man. After all, that's all he knows. He has never seen Cesario as Viola, again, unlike Rosalind and Orlando in As You Like It. In the audience eyes, Cesario stays as he is forever after because that's how he leaves the stage. But Jonathan Bate gives a different perspective. How can I talk about any Shakespeare's plays without quoting Jonathan Bate at some point? In the last chapter of Mad About Shakespeare, he says, above all, Cesario is no more. Orsino closes the dialogue by addressing Viola by her boy name one final time before she assumes her female garb and becomes his fancy's queen. But fancy's queen is the very language of that shallow, courtly love with which Orsino had tried to woo Olivia. The language that Cesario cast off when he she began speaking in her own voice. So does Orsino truly love Viola, or has Viola only replaced Olivia in his fancy, and Orsino will carry on loving the idea of love? Feste, the fool, is often the wise one throughout the play, because he sees things clearly, as Cesario comments. This fellow is wise enough to play the fool, and to do that well craves a kind of wit. He must observe their mood on whom he jests, the quality of persons, and the time, and like the haggard, meaning a wild hawk, check at every feather that comes before his eye. His wisdom follows from seeing people as who they are. He joins in the revelling with Sir Toby, Sir Andrew, and Maria when Malvolio thunders at them. Sir Andrew and Maria go quiet, but Sir Toby and Feste keep on singing. He calls Lady Olivia a fool and questions her for mourning her brother's soul in heaven. He never runs out of things to say. But somehow he's wary of Cesario, this new servant of Count Orsino. It's striking after hearing all his witty talk with everyone else. He says to Cesario, "Who you are and what you would are out of my welkin." I think because he sees her duality. He doesn't know how to speak with Cesario because he doesn't know who she is. She says her name is Cesario, but he doesn't know her real name. And the audience in the theatre doesn't know her real name until the reunion of the twins at the very end. The other occasion when Feste's wit fails him is when he meets the double, Sebastian. "Will you make me believe that I am not sent for you? Go to, thou art a foolish fellow, let me be clear of thee." Well held out in faith. "No, I do not know you, nor I am not sent to you by my lady to bid you come speak with her. Nor your name is not Master Cesario, nor this is not my nose neither. Nothing that is so, is so. I pray thee, vent thy folly somewhere else. Thou knowest not me." Vent my folly? He has heard that word of some great man, and now applies it to a fool. Vent my folly. I'm afraid this great lover the world will prove a cockney. I prithee now, ungird thy strangeness, and tell me what I shall vent to my lady. Shall I vent to her that thou art coming? I prithee, foolish Greek, depart from me. There's money for thee. If you tarry longer, I shall give worse payment. The poor guy is called foolish or folly 3 times. For the same reason, he cannot see Sebastian clearly. He's deceived by appearance. There's a lot about wit, folly, and madness in Twelfth Night, and a lot of it is to do with the meaning of language and the deception of appearance. To see this age, a sentence is but a cheverel glove to a good wit. How quickly the wrong side may be turned outward. Nay, that's certain. They that dally nicely with words may quickly make them wanton. A person with good wit can turn the meaning of a word and sentences inside out. Sentences are not honest and trustworthy anymore. In the wrong hand, they can conjure up false images and manipulate people. The most obvious example is the effect of Maria's letter on Malvolio. Malvolio was deceived by a letter and manipulated by people who are witty with words. His deception reminds me of Much Ado About Nothing, where Benedict is tricked into believing Beatrice loves him and vice versa. Malvolio believes his mistress favors him already. The letter just confirms his suspicion. "'Tis but fortune, all is fortune. Maria once told me she did affect me, and I have heard herself come thus near, that should she fancy, it should be one of my complexion. Besides, she uses me with a more exalted respect than anyone else that follows her. What should I think on it? To be Count Malvolio." I believe Benedict and Beatrice had a romantic backstory. They already love each other, but would rather die than believe it or confess it. So the happy ending of Much Ado About Nothing comes from a revealed truth. Both Beatrice and Benedict are deceived into confessing their love for each other. Whereas the tragic ending of Malvolio comes from a revealed lie. He is deceived into believing in the false images of him being loved by his mistress and being elevated to a higher social position. Those images put Malvolio in a dream. Why? Thou hast put him in such a dream that when the image of it leaves him, he must run mad, and turns him into a fool. Alas, poor fool, how have they baffled thee? What do you think about the duality of words and appearances and the roles they play in Twelfth Night? There are a lot of things I didn't mention, like love, the songs. I loved the songs from the BBC Radio Shakespeare production. Like identity and sexuality. What stands out most to you? That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one.